Hello, my name is Tyler Emanuel,
Hi, my name is Brendan Varela.
Hi, my name is Tamara.
Hi, my name is Amaya Hammer.
and my group and I did East Bay Ohlone Tribe's Land Back Plan. We first start off with the Ohlone tribe history, and this is a painting of three Ohlone people crossing the waters in San Francisco Bay. Who and where Ohlone tribe history is from. The present-day Muwekma Ohlone tribe, usually just known as the Ohlone tribe, is actually comprised of all known surviving American Indian lineages of the San Francisco Bay Area region. The Aboriginal homeland includes the counties of San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Clara, Alameda, Contra Costa, and portions of Napa, Santa Cruz, Solano, and San Joaquin. Through mission records, the lineage has been traced back to the Siouxen and Ohlone Ohlone tribal groups, Chukcan Bay Miwok speaking tribal groups, Tamkan, Pasasimi, and Yathicumene North Valley Yokut speaking tribal groups, Salken Bay Miwok speaking tribal groups, and Naipan Karaquin Ohlone tribal groups. I'm sorry if I butchered that. I've been trying to say it properly for like the last 10 minutes. Before the first encounter with Spanish explorers in 1769, the 40 different tribal settlements lived in this land for thousands of years. The descendants called themselves Ohlone, and this 10,000 odd Native American population held out the longest against European acculturation. The Ohlone tribes were groups of hunter-gatherers enjoying a diet of fish, shellfish, waterfowl, venison, bear, acorns, rabbits, and wild berries. When the Spanish made contact, the Spanish tried to change the tribes from traditional hunter-gatherers to an agrarian society. The local Ohlone were generally more open than many to newcomers, and due to the Spanish choosing to approach through attraction rather than conquest, the process of assimilation unfolded over time without the level of violent skirmishes of other areas.
The three key terms we chose were colonization. Spanish and American policies forcibly removed the Ohlone tribe from their lands and suppressed their culture. Sovereignty. The land back movement represents a reclaiming of the Ohlone tribe's right to self govern and care for their ancestral territory. And third, environmental justice. Their stewardship of the land aims to reverse ecological damage caused by settler practices. Connection to the theme of danger of a single story. The dominant narrative erases the presence of the Ohlone tribe and claims that they are extinct. This project actively resists that falsehood by amplifying the voices and leadership of present day Ohlone people who are reclaiming space, history, and identity. The single story of Native people being vanished is dismantled by their continued cultural vitality and land stewardship. How this example represents decolonization. The Ohlone Tribe Land Back Plan is an act of decolonization through exercise and sovereignty, creating autonomous plans for land management and community use, revitalizing culture, like hosting ceremonies, language classes, and traditional ecological practices, pushing against erasure, challenging the myth that they no longer exist by reclaiming space and visibility, and lastly, protecting homelands, restoring land to indigenous stewardship for cultural and ecological healing.
One of the historical connections to Ohlone land back movement is fighting against a history that began with Spanish colonization, something we studied in Module 4, Spanish colonization of California and the mission systems. The Spanish colonization built Mission Dolores right in Ohlone territory. These weren't really about religion, they were tools for taking control, just like Module 4 showed us. These missions forced Ohlone people to work for no pay, give up their tradition, and abandon their languages. This was all under the mission system, a way to claim native land and erase native cultures. But what matters is that Ohlone survived through the land back. They protected their sacred sites near those some old missions, restored native plants on their homeland, and they're teaching their language to new generations. This work directly reverses what the Spanish mission system tried to do. It improves that after 250 years of colonization, Ohlone people are still here and still fighting for the land and culture. Many native people, including the Ohlone, were taken from their families and forced into boarding schools or missions that tried to erase their language, culture, and identity. In a video we watched, people shared how they were told don't go looking into their past, a warning meant to protect them, but it also caused deep disconnection from their roots. The Ohlone people experienced the same kind of loss. Their land was taken, their names and ceremonies were erased, and even today, many people don't even know the Ohlone until still exist. But they do, and they're reclaiming what was taken. The land back movement is about more than just returning land. It's about returning identity, healing from historical trauma, and restoring relationships with the land. Groups like Segura T Land Trust are leading efforts in the Bay Area to bring land back into indigenous hands. These stories are deeply connected since the boarding schools tried to take culture away and land back is one way Native people are getting it back. Remembering these histories and supporting indigenous lead movements helps us all move towards justice and healing.
The doctrine of discovery was used to colonize and gain property rights to indigenous land all around the world, essentially claiming rights by discovery of the occupied land. The Ohlone Land Back Plan directly challenges this through emphasizing that they are reclaiming land. Through restoring and reclaiming their ancestral land, they deny the idea of the land belonging to those who claimed rights under the doctrine of discovery. Similar to how we covered the misrepresentation and narrative of Pocahontas in Week 3, the Ohlone Land Back Plan pushes back by reclaiming their name, history, and relationships to land. By speaking out through real Native voices about the history of their people and presence, the narrative that ignores the violence and repression they experience is not to be accepted. They've survived centuries of genocide and colonization using many survival tactics, including concealing their identity. The Ohlone are educating the public about their story. There are active learning groups that teaches Choqueño language, one of the languages spoken by the Ohlone. Teaming with schools in the area such as UC Berkeley, their goal is to ensure their language will thrive and be passed on to future generations. We chose the topic of the Ohlone tribe because a group member had a personal connection of a family member attending the Ohlone Community College. Through further research, the importance of this local movement to restore land to the indigenous group feels inspiring as it blends justice, cultural preservation, and prevailing narratives. This project has impacted our understanding of Native people and communities by highlighting their presence and resilience. A movement such as this for land justice shows how Native communities are active. Their efforts to reclaim their ancestral land also reveals and sheds light on how history has impacted this group and how they're still healing. Images chosen throughout this presentation highlight their history, traditions, and relationship with the land.
And these are the works that we cited for our project. Thank you and have a great night, day, morning, whenever you get to listen to this.